Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to start designing parts with Fusion 360. The first part we're going to make is seen here. We're going to use inches as our units, and then we're going to consider what method did we use to make it. Did we use additive methods, subtractive methods, and so forth. And then we're going to assign a material to our object or part, and then we're going to determine some physical properties of our part, such as mass, volume, and density. Let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and open up Fusion 360. First thing we want to do is come on up here to New Project. For students in my class, let's call this project Activity 4.1G. Go ahead and select Enter, and then double click on it. So if you notice at the top here, we have a tab already open. So we don't need to go to File or open up anything. It's already open for us. So let's go back to our assignment real quick. I'm going to basically sketch out this front face seen here. Okay, and by sketching out this front face, then we're going to extrude it out a distance of 2.5 inches here. So let's come back to our assignment. All right, and the first thing you want to do is create a sketch, and let's start on our XY plane here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close my data panel to make my screen a little larger. And the first thing we're going to want to do now is to grab our line tool here, and we always want to start at our origin right here at the center where our X and Y axes cross. So we're going to go on up, and I'm just going to drag, I'm going to click and drag my mouse up a distance. I'm going to type it in. You see how it's highlighted blue there? 1.3. I'm going to type in 1.5 and then hit enter. Okay, I'm going to come back and grab my line tool again. I'm going to start where my line left off. I'm going to click, drag out a distance of 1. Okay, and then I'm going to click, and I'm going to just keep dragging out lines. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, and then we're going to go up a distance of 1. Click. I'm going to drag out a distance of 2. Click, and then I'm going to come down a distance of 1. Now, if you're good, you can just drag it out the specified distance. So notice how it says 1. I'm just going to click once it says 1. I'm going to come across and a distance of 1. Click, come down 1.5. Once it's highlighted 1.5, I'm going to click, come across 0.5, click, come on up 0.5, click, come across a distance of 3, click, and then come down 0.5 and come across and connect my loop. Okay, now this is very important. Every sketch needs to have a closed loop. In other words, all of our lines should be connected. Okay, you will not be able to extrude or create a 3D object if your lines have gaps between them, essentially. Okay, so we basically just drew out a 2D sketch, and we added dimensions as we drew each line. I'm going to show you a different way now, okay, that's just as effective, if not better, than what you just drew. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and highlight that and delete it, okay, and just please pay attention or follow along, it's up to you. I'm now going to grab my line tool again, and I'm going to draw out the same thing basically, but not to exact dimensions, just sort of a rough sketch. And then I'm going to go back later and add dimensions. So I'm just going to click and sort of draw the same thing. But like I said, not to exact dimensions here. Okay, it looks similar to the last one, but it's not the same, obviously, but we can fix that. So the sketch dimension tool is very important. Let's go in now and add the appropriate dimensions. That distance was 1.5. I'm going to type in 1.5, hit enter. This distance was 1, enter, 1, type in 1, enter. This distance was 2, enter. This distance was 1, enter. and then this distance was 1.5, enter. And I forgot this distance, which was 1, which is why this is a little longer, right? So let's go back and change that to 1, enter. And then this distance, click, click, and then we got 0.5. And when you're adding dimensions, it's just a click, and then click on the other line, and that's 0.5. Click here, and that's 0.5. And now if we have that one should be 3. And notice what happens when you click there. Oh, you're over constraining it. Okay, so I'm going to hit cancel. Okay, because we don't need that. And we always want our sketches to be fully constrained. In other words, all the dimensions are applied to it necessary to kind of lock it in place. So nothing can move around, essentially. So we're in dimension mode. Let's go ahead and hit escape. And now let's finish our sketch. And now we're going to go ahead and extrude this feature here, our sketch, to make it a 3D object. And we can pull it out. Notice the distance we want it to be, or we can just type in the distance here. And I'm going to type in a distance of 2.5 and hit enter. Okay, now come on up here and remember to save this guy, and we're going to call it just part 1 and hit save. Okay, so the last thing, I'm going to come back to the assignment. The last thing we want to make is this little feature right here that kind of sticks out. So let's go back to Fusion 360, and now we're going to start a sketch on this side. Okay, we're going to grab our rectangle tool now, not our line tool, but our 2-point rectangle tool. I'm going to click there, and I'm going to drag out a rectangle. Now, it's very important you watch out. There's some hidden lines. Make sure you don't draw your rectangle and you connect it to one of those hidden lines. So I'm going to draw out a rectangle, okay, about this area. And now I'm going to dimension it. So I'm going to come up to my dimension tool here, okay. I'm going to click on this edge. I'm going to click on this edge, and I'm going to dimension it to be 0.5 inches from this side to this side, and then hit enter. All right. And now I'm going to dimension it from this top edge to the top side of our rectangle here to be a distance of 0.75 and hit enter. And now the size of our rectangle is 1.5 inches in length, enter. And the thickness of our rectangle is 0.25. Okay, our sketch is fully constrained. I'm going to hit escape and take it out of dimension mode here. I'm going to finish my sketch. And now I'm going to go ahead over here to extrude. And I'm going to click on the portion that I want to extrude. I'm going to click on that guy right there. I'm going to type in a distance of 0.75. And I'm going to make sure it says join and hit OK. Now I'm going to show you guys something very, very, very important. This is your design history bar right over here. This shows your sketches and your extrusions that you made. And if you hit play, you'll see, okay, the design history, essentially how you made your part or object here. All right, and you can also go back in and change things. So let's go back in and change this sketch. Let's say, hey, I made a mistake. This was supposed to be 1 inch. So I'm going to type in 1 and hit enter and then finish sketch. Notice now it's changed size. You can also change the extrusions. Edit feature. You know what? That wasn't supposed to be 0.75. That was supposed to be 2 inches. And then hit OK. Okay, but we know that's not supposed to be like that based on our assignment. So I'm going to go back in and fix it to its desired dimensions here. So that was 1.5. Finish sketch. And our extrusion was only 0.75. Hit OK. All right, so we are now done with our first part. Congratulations. We got to just do a couple things here. We want to give our part here a material. All right, so we can come on up here to modify and we can give it a physical material here. All right, or we can come on over here and right click on document settings and give it a physical material here. For this particular part, let's give it a material of aluminum 6061. So you'll click on metal and then you'll scroll down and find aluminum 6061, one of the most common types of metal we'll be working with in our class. So you drag that over to it and there you go. It's now aluminum 6061. Okay, go ahead and hit close. Now the final thing we want to do is check out some of our properties, our physical properties. So we're going to right click once again and we're going to scroll down to properties here, click on properties. And this will, now that we've assigned it a material, aluminum 6061, Fusion 360 will tell us the surface area, the density, the mass, okay, of our part or object here, the volume. And this is very important stuff. So let's say aluminum is like, $1.50 a pound. Well, if we want to make 50,000 of these parts or objects, right, we can calculate the cost that it's going to cost our company to make these things. So please take note of these physical properties here, okay? When you're done, go ahead and hit OK. And one thing I'm going to do real quick is just give our part or object here a color. So I'm going to click on appearance. Okay, I'm going to go into paint. And just something, a good habit is just to always give your part or objects a material, a color, and all that good stuff. So I'm actually going to just edit this guy and I'm going to just, let's just give it like a blue color here and hit done. Okay. Go ahead and hit close. Now make sure when you're done with your part, always make sure to save it, and it's just gonna say, hey, we saved it for you, and hit OK. All right, and now open up your data panel and you'll see it over here. Okay, Autodesk is saving it in the cloud there for you. All right, that should do it for part one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something and we'll see you next time.